Good afternoon, this is Mac Lacy. I'm at the Travel South International Showcase in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm speaking with Mike Mangeot. Mike is the Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Travel. And Mike, you have an iconic product right now. It's iconic in the fact that it's been around for, what, a couple hundred years, maybe longer?
A few, yeah.
But it is so hot, and we're talking about bourbon, and it's a real hook in the international market. Talk to me a little bit about how bourbon plays in right now to your international marketing efforts.
Sure, bourbon's actually a huge piece of our international marketing efforts. Usually when we travel to any country or host operators, bourbon's going to be on the agenda, not just drinking it, but seeing how it's made. And, and that really lends itself, as you said, the process is more than 200 years old. The distilling process in Kentucky was based on settlers from Scotland and Ireland and the UK coming through the Cumberland Gap, which was the western frontier at one time. And they started using corn. So, there's really a lot of history and heritage behind bourbon as well that we like to use. But it's a significant portion of our tourism product right now. It's really tied in with the growth of bourbon as an industry, the popularity of bourbon, and as it grows in so many of these other markets, like as we were talking earlier, Russia or China, that are just opening up and they've been to the gateway cities of the United States. They've been to New York now. They've been to Florida. They've been to LA. And now they want to get inside the interior states and want that authentic American experience. And bourbon is primed for that. I mean, it's really set up well. And it's a major part of our efforts. Okay.
I know you're hosting an event tonight.
Yes.
A reception. I think this year you're using Maker's Mark.
We are. Maker's Mark is here. And I want to say before anything else is that our distillery are great partners.
Right.
Whenever we reach out to them, they really help us. Many of them have invested millions and millions of dollars in their visitor experiences to make that experience so memorable for their guests. But our friends at Makers tonight are going to be here, and the thing about Makers is their iconic red wax on their bottle.
Yeah.
So the experience that we're going to have for our guests is what they can experience at the distillery themselves. Is they're going to be able to dip a bottle of Maker's Mark that they can then take with them. Now, unfortunately, there's no bourbon in there because of a lot of other rules and regulations, but
like airlines,
a commemorative bottle, and they just get that experience, and that's kind of cool.
All right. What are a couple of the Bourbon Trail? I know has really drawn a lot of interest, a lot of visitation. What are a couple of things that tie in well with bourbon? Cuisine, can you tie it into horse racing?
Absolutely.
What are the tie-ins for bourbon?
Well, one of the things is, one of the initiatives that has come out is really this thing called Bourbon Country, that it's not just going to the distilleries, and not all of our distilleries are along the official Bourbon Trail.
Right.
So we have others that are out there, but so many of our restaurants and our chefs are now taking bourbon and incorporating it into their menus, everything from breakfast foods to desserts. And there's a really, really good culinary scene taking off throughout the state of Kentucky, so much so that we've started a campaign this year, and a new website, KentuckyCuisine.com.
Yeah, you got a new website, right.
It's up and running. But bourbon is part of our history and heritage, as you said. There's nothing better than an October day at Keeneland Racecourse in Lexington, watching the horses run, nice cool weather with a glass of bourbon.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Kentucky.
That's Kentucky right there.
That's Kentucky. All right, well, we'll wrap with this. How has Travel South helped Kentucky to market bourbon, but also to market the state as a whole?
They've been a huge asset, and mainly because we do not have a huge budget. We don't have a Florida budget, not many people do. But even amongst our member states in Travel South, we're one of the smaller budgets. So for us to go out and try to market Kentucky as a standalone destination, we just literally don't have the resources to do it.
Right.
Travel South allows us to work cooperatively with our southern states, and it makes sense because the international traveler is not coming to one state normally. They're coming and they're going to stay longer. We all know they're going to spend more money, but they want to see more than just one state usually. And you look at the tie-ins from a cuisine standpoint throughout the South, from a spirit standpoint. Not just bourbon, but Tennessee whiskey and moonshine and other things like that. But Travel South has really allowed us to leverage our dollars, extend our dollars, and put Kentucky in the consciousness and in the conversation for international travel. And it's a great partnership, and I look forward to another 50 years of being a part of Travel South.
All right, well, great. Well, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck tonight with your event.
Thanks, Mac. Appreciate it.